I never thought betrayal could come from the person who once looked me in the eyes and vowed, "I trust you more than anyone in this world." But that's the thing about trust, it's fragile. One lie, one whisper, and everything you built can crumble. My name is Daniel Cole, and 3 weeks ago, my wife threw me out of the home I helped her build, because her son told her something that wasn't true. He said I hit him. He said I'd been secretly trying to replace his late father. And worst of all, he said I'd been manipulating his mother for her money. She didn't even ask me what happened. She just looked at me with eyes I didn't recognize anymore and said, "Leave, Daniel. You've done enough." And I did. I left. But I didn't cry, I didn't beg, and I didn't fight back. Because something inside me whispered, let them drown in their lies. Truth doesn't shout, it waits. 3 weeks later, she called me, her voice trembling, asking if I'd reflected. What she didn't know was, I had. And I was ready to show her reflection in the form of divorce papers. But what came after that? Her son's reaction, her sudden confession, and the truth that exploded, no one saw it coming. This is my story. When I first met Laura, she was the definition of grace and strength. A widow in her late 30s with a teenage son named Ethan, who was just, well, let's say complicated. I was 32 then, a construction engineer, recently relocated, with a good career and an even better heart. I wasn't rich, but I was stable. And Laura? She was a business consultant, independent, and honestly, breathtaking. We met at a friend's engagement party. She laughed at my jokes, and I couldn't stop staring at the sadness hidden behind her smile. Our connection was instant. Within months, we were inseparable. Ethan, though, he was never on board. At first, I didn't blame him. Losing his father young must have torn him apart. But as the months passed, I realized his dislike for me wasn't just emotional, it was personal. He wanted control over his mother's life. And I was a threat. Still, I was patient. I cooked breakfast every morning, took him to football practice, and attended every parent meeting at his school. I tried to be the man he could count on. But he never smiled at me. Never once said, "Thanks, Daniel." Still, Laura would squeeze my hand and whisper, "Give him time." And I did. God knows, I did. It started with something small. Ethan accidentally told Laura that I had raised my voice at him when she was away for a business trip. I hadn't. He'd broken a vase, one his father had given her, and when I tried to explain calmly, he screamed back, slammed his door, and then texted her, "Daniel is scary." She came home angry, her voice sharp, eyes narrowed. "Daniel, if you ever yell at my son again, we'll have a problem." I was stunned. I tried to explain, but she cut me off, "I know my son." That sentence pierced me deeper than she knew, because I thought she knew me too. The final straw came one cold Friday night. I got home early, tired from work, and heard raised voices upstairs. Ethan was shouting. Then I heard something shatter. I ran upstairs, and found him holding his cheek, pretending to cry. A broken lamp lay on the floor. Laura rushed in, and before I could speak, Ethan pointed at me, trembling, saying, "He hit me." Laura's face went pale. I tried to explain. I swore I didn't. I even reached for her hands. But she pulled away like my touch burned her. "Get out, Daniel," she whispered, voice shaking. "You've done enough." I stood there, speechless. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it echoing in my ears. The same woman who once said she'd die defending me, now looked at me like a monster. I packed a small bag and left. Those 3 weeks were the longest of my life. No calls. No texts. Just silence. I stayed with my friend Marcus, who kept saying, "Bro, don't go back. That kid's poison." But I couldn't stop thinking about her. Then one morning, I got a message. From Laura. "Daniel, can we talk? I think we both need to reflect. I've been thinking a lot." My heart clenched, but not out of hope. Out of resolve. Because I'd spent those 3 weeks not just hurting, but investigating. Marcus had a friend who worked in private cybersecurity. Together, we dug deeper into Ethan's online behavior, and what we found was shocking. Just like that. Ethan had been talking to his late father's brother, Uncle Brian, behind Laura's back. Brian had always despised Laura for remarrying. He'd convinced Ethan that I was a gold digger trying to replace his father. They even staged fake bruises and recorded audio clips of me shouting, clips they edited from normal household noises. It was all a setup. They wanted to break Laura and me apart so Brian could manipulate her into selling part of her late husband's estate, which Ethan would inherit at 21. They used her love against her. And I was the target. When she called to meet, I agreed, but not as the heartbroken husband she expected. No, I came as the man who knew the truth. We met at our favorite cafe. She looked smaller somehow, tired, regretful. "Daniel," she began softly, "I've had time to reflect. Maybe we both made mistakes. I just want to understand." I let her speak. Then I reached into my bag and slid a brown envelope across the table. "Reflection, huh?" I said quietly. "Good. Then reflect on this." She opened it. Divorce papers. Her hands trembled. "Daniel, what is this?" 3 weeks of silence showed me something. "Laura," I said calmly. "I was fighting for a woman who didn't even ask me if her son was lying. You chose blind faith over truth." She started crying. "Daniel, please." I was confused. But I interrupted, my voice firm. "You believed him. You didn't just break my trust, Laura. You destroyed it." And then, as if on cue, Ethan stormed in. He'd been listening from outside. "You think you can just leave her?" he screamed. People stared. Laura tried to calm him, but he was shaking with rage. "Everything you have is because of her. You're nothing without us." I looked at him, then said coldly, "Funny. That's exactly what your uncle said in the messages I found." His face went pale. "What messages?" Laura asked, voice trembling. I slid my phone across. The screenshots, every chat, every voice note, every manipulated clip. She froze. The cafe went silent except for her quiet gasp. That day changed everything. Ethan's lies crumbled. He tried to deny it, but the proof was undeniable. Laura broke down. She called Brian right there, screaming into the phone. And that's when she realized how deep the manipulation ran. Brian hung up. Ethan ran out of the cafe. And I just stood there. For the first time, I was silent. Because the truth didn't need defending anymore. 2 days later, Laura came to Marcus's place. She begged for forgiveness. "Daniel, please, don't leave me. I was blind. I should have trusted you." But I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I did reflect, Laura. And I reflected on how much peace costs, and how much pain lies can bring. I'm not staying in a house where truth has to beg to be heard." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't fight. I just filed the divorce papers and included defamation and mental distress charges. It turns out, recording false abuse claims is a crime. Ethan had to publicly apologize to me, and his uncle faced legal action. Laura lost custody over the estate management until Ethan turned 21. She broke down in court, sobbing as the judge replayed those fake recordings. My revenge wasn't violence. It was truth, quiet, precise, devastating. Months later, I bought a small cabin on the outskirts of town. Peaceful, quiet, mine. One day, I got a letter. From Laura. Daniel, I'm in therapy now. I wish I'd listened sooner. You were the only man who ever loved me with patience. I hope you're happy. I smiled. Not because I hated her, but because I finally forgave her. Sometimes, revenge isn't about hurting those who hurt you. It's about living so well that their lies have nowhere left to hide. My wife once asked if I'd reflected. And I did. I reflected on love that was blind, on lies that screamed louder than truth, and on peace, the kind that comes when you walk away, not because you lost, but because you won yourself back. So yes, I reflected, and my reflection smiled. 3 months passed since the divorce papers hit Laura's table. I thought the story had ended, but I was wrong. The storm wasn't over. One evening, I was closing my laptop after work when I received an unexpected call. Unknown number. But the voice? I recognized instantly. Daniel, it's Ethan. I froze. He sounded broken. His arrogance was gone, replaced by something I never expected. Guilt. Please, can we meet? He asked softly. It's important. Every part of me wanted to hang up, but curiosity and a strange sense of closure made me agree. We met at a quiet park near the old house. He looked thinner, paler. His eyes were swollen, like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't even sit before blurting. I ruined everything, didn't I? I stayed silent. He continued, Mom's a mess. Uncle Brian's been arrested for fraud. She's blaming herself for believing him. And me, his voice cracked. I just wanted to protect her. I didn't mean to destroy her. For the first time, I saw not a manipulative boy, but a scared child trapped in the consequences of his own lies. Why now, Ethan? I finally asked. He swallowed. Because I saw her cry your name in her sleep. That line hit me harder than I wanted to admit. That same night, I got another call, this time from Laura's lawyer. Apparently, Brian's fraud case had uncovered something massive. He had forged part of Laura's late husband's estate documents, diverting money into offshore accounts under Ethan's name. Laura was being questioned. The law saw her as complicit. And just like that, the woman who once had everything, now faced public scandal, frozen assets, and a tarnished reputation. I sat there, reading the news headlines, and all I felt was silence. I didn't want her destroyed. I just wanted her to see. But fate wasn't done teaching her yet. 2 weeks later, the courtroom was packed. Laura sat on one side, exhausted, hollow-eyed. Ethan beside her, holding her hand. I was there as a witness, subpoenaed to confirm parts of the estate's timeline. When she saw me, she froze. Tears instantly filled her eyes. Our eyes met, and for a split second, I saw the woman I once loved, but buried beneath guilt and regret. The prosecutor presented Brian's fake accounts, linking them to Ethan's name. Laura whispered, "No, No, that can't be right. But it was. When Brian took the stand via video testimony, he smirked. Maybe next time, Laura, you'll listen to your family instead of your lovers. That smugness, that evil twist, made my blood boil. For a moment, I wanted to stand and shout at him. But then, I saw Ethan do something unexpected. He stood up. His voice broke the courtroom silence. Enough, he shouted. It was all me. I helped him. Gasps filled the room. I lied about Daniel. I lied about everything. I wanted him gone because I thought he was replacing my dad. But it was Brian. He told me what to say, what to record, how to fake it all. I did it. I ruined everything. He turned to me, crying. I'm sorry, Daniel. Please. I'm sorry. Even the judge paused for a long moment. That was the day the lies finally died, in public view. After the hearing, Laura ran after me. Daniel, please wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. She whispered, you don't have to say anything. I need you to know, I never stopped loving you. I just stopped believing in myself. Her voice cracked. I let fear guide me. I let my son's pain make me blind. And now, I've lost everything. I finally turned, my tone quiet but firm. You didn't lose everything, Laura. You just lost what wasn't built on truth. Her tears flowed freely now. Can you ever forgive me? Forgive? Yes. Forget? Never. Ethan was sentenced to community service and mandatory counseling. Brian faced 10 years in prison. Laura's estate was restored, but her public reputation remained fragile. Meanwhile, I moved on, quietly, peacefully. I bought a small construction firm, expanded it, hired local youths, and focused on rebuilding lives, not just houses. Months later, Ethan began volunteering at one of my building sites. He didn't ask for a job. He just showed up, every day, carrying bricks, mixing cement, working silently. At first, I ignored him. But after weeks of consistent effort, I saw something change. He wasn't the same kid anymore. One evening, as we packed up, he said, I know I don't deserve it, but thank you for not hating me. I looked at him for a long time before replying. Hate only destroys the hater, Ethan. I've had enough destruction for one lifetime. He nodded slowly, and for the first time ever, he smiled. A real, honest smile. It was a rainy Friday night when I heard a knock on my cabin door. When I opened it, there she was. Laura. Soaked, shivering, clutching a small folder. I know I shouldn't be here, she said softly, but I couldn't move on without showing you this. Inside the folder were documents. She'd sold her old consulting company. I donated half to a foundation for victims of false accusations, she said. And the other half, I'm investing into your firm. You're building lives, Daniel. I want to help you do that. I stared at her. Her eyes were no longer the same. No more pride, no more ego. Just peace. For the first time in a long time, I saw the real Laura. I nodded slowly. All right, I said. We'll build something honest this time. Over the next months, Laura worked quietly beside me. No romantic talks, no promises. Just work. And honestly, that was enough. She handled client relations. I handled operations. Together, we turned the company into a growing empire of trust. Ethan eventually joined full-time, designing affordable housing models for single parents. He found purpose where once there was only guilt. It wasn't about repairing what broke. It was about building new foundations. 2 years later, we were invited to a National Builders Gala. Our firm nominated for Best Social Impact Construction Company of the Year. When my name was announced, the crowd stood. Cameras flashed. But my eyes sought only one person, Laura. She was crying, smiling, clapping, proud. And in that moment, something inside me whispered. This was the real revenge all along. Success, peace, and forgiveness that burns brighter than any anger ever could. Weeks later, I received a handwritten letter. From Ethan. Dear Daniel, I used to think you ruined my life, but now I know you saved it. You showed me what strength really looks like, not shouting, not revenge, but walking away with your head high. You taught me what a real father is. And for that, I'll spend my life making it up to you. Ethan. I folded the letter and placed it in my desk drawer. Right beside my divorce papers, the ones I never sent to finalize. Life has a strange way of making you revisit pain, not to punish you, but to prove how far you've come. My wife threw me out because she believed her son's lies. 3 weeks later, she asked if I'd reflected. And I did. But my reflection didn't show anger or revenge. It showed freedom. Because the sweetest revenge isn't payback, it's peace. It's walking through the ashes of betrayal and realizing you no longer smell like smoke. Laura rebuilt her faith. Ethan rebuilt his soul. And I rebuilt my life. So yes, I reflected. And this time, my reflection smiled back. With pride. Pause, fade-out tone. Sometimes, life throws you out of places not because you don't belong there, but because peace was waiting on the other side of the door.